Jett Travolta was the oldest child of American actors John Travolta and Kelly Preston. He died prematurely at the age of 16 after suffering a seizure. Jett's death was a profound tragedy for Travolta, Preston, and their relative family members. Jett Travolta was born on the morning of April 15, 1992, at Daytona Beach Hospital in Daytona Beach, Florida. His parents had been seeing each other since 1988 and had married each other in September 1991. He would live with his parents, spending time at their residences at Jumblair Estates in Ocala, Florida, a 5-bedroom mansion with a private airport and 2 aircraft. Jett was also raised at a residence in Carmel, California, and a mansion in Maine built in 1903. He was raised under the religious belief of Scientology, as his parents were members. At the age of 2, Jett was afflicted with Kawasaki syndrome, a relatively common condition in young children that is often not fatal. What happens with this condition is that medium-sized blood vessels in the body become inflamed. In concurrence with this, the lymph nodes and mucous membranes of the nose, throat, and eyes also become inflamed. This is the reason why Kawasaki syndrome is also referred to as mucocutaneous lymph node syndrome. The condition has accompanying symptoms of a fever, peeling of skin, skin rashes, and swelling of the hands and feet. The condition is evidently curable. In Jett, he reportedly improved from the condition over time, according to his parents. His parents had stated that he underwent an undisclosed detail-specific detoxification program based on the teachings of Scientology. John Travolta reportedly blamed the manifestation of Jett's Kawasaki syndrome on household fertilizers and cleaning products during an interview with Larry King on CNN in 2001. A spokesperson for the Church of Scientology, Tommy Davis, stated that the Church of Scientology offers a program of vitamins, saunas, and exercise to treat ailments. Kelly Preston and John Travolta both blamed Jett's later health issues and developmental issues on his Kawasaki syndrome. Jett was confirmed to be on the autism spectrum after his death. This condition was allegedly previously denied by Travolta and Preston, who reportedly did not recognize the legitimacy of the condition due to Scientology classifying autism as a psychosomatic condition that should never or seldom treated with psychoactive drugs or psychiatric therapy. Jett reportedly would often be accompanied by 2 nannies, which fueled the speculation that he had autism before its confirmation. Kelly Preston also reportedly stated that Jett had also suffered from asthma during his life. Jett Travolta regularly suffered episodic grand mal seizures during his life. Autism is known to be a common contributing factor in regular reoccurring seizures. According to John Travolta in a September 2009 testimony given in a court case against 2 individuals accused of attempting to extort millions of dollars from him following his son's death, Jett Travolta would suffer a seizure on a basis of about every 5 to 10 days. John Travolta continued by saying these seizures would last approximately between 45 seconds to a minute and that Jett would rest for about half a day afterward. Jett had been reportedly taking the anti-seizure medication Depakote to treat his seizures. Before his death, Jett and his immediate family went on a New Year vacation to the Bahamas. The Travolta family had a regular vacation home in the Bahamas. They were accompanied by their attorney, Michael McDermott, on the trip. They arrived by private aircraft on December 30, 2008, and intended on returning back to the United States on January 4, 2009. He reportedly began falling ill during the trip. At around 10 a.m. on the morning of January 2, 2009, Jett was discovered unresponsive in the bathroom of his family's Old Bay Bahama resort residence by a caretaker of the family. He was reportedly last spotted entering the bathroom the previous day, according to police. This note was conflicted by a statement that he was supervised by 2 nannies the whole evening, and the incident that led to his death unfolded soon after he entered the bathroom on the morning of January 2. The caretaker that discovered Jett in the bathroom had attempted to perform resuscitation efforts. The paramedics were then alerted. John Travolta then made vigorous attempts to also perform resuscitation efforts on Jett, but this was ultimately unsuccessful. Travolta had to be physically removed from his son's side by the time paramedics arrived, since he was continuing to perform resuscitation efforts when they arrived. Jett was transported to Rand Memorial Hospital in the capital of the Bahamas, Freeport, where he was declared deceased. Jett Travolta was only 16 years old at the time of his death. He was survived by his parents and his younger sister Ella, who was born in 2000. Immediate news of his death was disclosed by reports from TMZ. The Royal Bahamas Police Force had attested that Jett had suffered head trauma after striking his head during a sudden seizure episode he suffered. A small amount of blood was reported to be present in the bathroom. The police attested in addition to their previous observation that Jett striking his head was the cause of his death. However, when an autopsy was performed on Jett's body by 2 pathologists and the correspondent death certificate was published, the seizure itself was reported as the main cause of Jett's death. The Travolta family doctor, Mark Smith, reportedly attended the autopsy proceedings. The autopsy results seemed to discredit the initial police observations. Upon the reveal of this news, a local coroner and Bahamian Minister of Health, Hubert Minnis, did not release comments about the death certificate. Jett's body was cremated and then taken to an airport in the Bahamas and was flown to Ocala, Florida, so he could undergo memorial services. Reactions to Jett's premature death were expectedly full of grief. On January 4, 2009, John Travolta's website released a statement that stated, "Jett was the most wonderful son that 2 parents could ever ask for and lit up the lives of everyone he encountered. We are heartbroken that our time with him was so brief. We will cherish the time that we had with him for the rest of our lives." A few of fellow celebrities and acting co-stars of John Travolta expressed empathy and condolences for Jett and the Travolta family. This included country musician Billy Ray Cyrus, Wild Hogs co-star Tim Allen, and Battlefield Earth co-star Forrest Whitaker. The Prime Minister of the Bahamas at the time, Hubert Ingraham, sent condolences to the Travolta family for the loss of Jett. John Travolta's lawyer stated that Jett's death was completely out of the blue. They went on further, stating, "John and Kelly are happy when their children are happy. This is the worst day of John's life." Kelly Preston's half-brother Chris Polzes was quoted stating in an interview after Jett's death, "We're all devastated. It's definitely a bad time. That's all I have to say." Fellow actor and Scientology member Tom Cruise stated during an interview on the television program The View that the situation of Jett's death was horrific. A small brief private memorial service was held for Jett Travolta in a tent just outside the Travolta residence in Ocala, Florida, on the afternoon of January 8, 2009. Photographers and reporters were not permitted to enter the residence. To prevent them from entering, Travolta's security and Marion County Sheriff Office members were stationed outside. Local onlookers, observing people in cars, and neighbors also gathered outside. Some people outside brought floral arrangements. At the Saddle Rock Cafe in Ocala, a commemorative sign was posted, which read, "Condolences to John and Kelly." It was reported that around 100 individuals were in attendance for the service. Some prominent attendees included Elvis Presley's daughter and former wife of Michael Jackson, Lisa Marie Presley, country musician Garth Brooks and his wife, actors Forrest Whitaker, Kirstie Alley, and James Gandolfini, and Hall of Fame baseball player Cal Ripken Jr. The service had only one speaker, a female minister of the Church of Scientology. Upon a conclusion of the service, John and Kelly kissed a large photograph of Jett. The death of Jett brought scrutiny towards the Scientology religion, particularly for their stances on mental health conditions and their treatment programs. Many online used the situation to point out what they perceived as issues with the religion and inconsistencies with the Travolta family. After his death, the Jett Travolta Foundation was created. The foundation's purpose is to provide assistance and relief to children with vision, learning, hearing, communication, and behavioral impairments. The foundation also has the goal of educating people on the importance of a clean and safe environment, assisting with natural disaster relief to preserve the integrity of the environment for children. In late January 2009, news reports of the extortion plot made by a Bahamian paramedic named Terrio Lightbourne against the Travolta family surfaced. Lightbourne was a technician at Rand Memorial Hospital. He attempted to make Travolta pay $25 million to gain access to a medical document of Jett's that was reportedly deemed worthless and irrelevant. Lightbourne's attorney and former Bahamian senator, Pleasant Bridgewater, called one of Travolta's legal team 2 weeks prior to deliver the news of Lightbourne's intentions. The document was reported to be a refusal of transport document for Jett that was allegedly signed by John Travolta. Refusal of transport means that a person refuses to receive transport by ambulance to a medical facility. According to the National Institutes of Health, refusal of transport occurs between 5 to 25% of hospital calls. Lightbourne was charged with attempted extortion and conspiracy to commit extortion. Lightbourne pleaded not guilty. Police initially had difficulty assessing whether the medical document was authentic or not. Lightbourne was released on bail prior to the trial. A trial for Lightbourne and his lawyer, Pleasant Bridgewater, who was also charged with extortion against Travolta, formally began in September 2009. Travolta had testified on the stand during the trial, in which he explained the Dettles Jett's medical condition under oath. He also detailed what occurred in the hotel room that morning before paramedics arrived. This was the first time that Jett's autism was publicly confirmed by the Travolta family. When Lightbourne was brought onto the stand to testify, he stated that John spent time by Jett's side in the ambulance, reportedly hugging and kissing his unresponsive son, telling him that he loved him and that Lightbourne did everything he could to save his life. Lightbourne stated that Travolta then proceeded to hug him and tell him he did a wonderful job. A mistrial was declared in October 2009 after juror misconduct was suspected by a Bahamian judge. After this, the extortion indictment was later retracted by Travolta and his legal team. Travolta stated that the reason he was dismissing the case was because he and the family did not want to face any more unbelievable stress and pain that trial has brought them. John Travolta eventually returned to acting, taking a year-long hiatus following Jett's death. He says that his religious faith helped him to move past his grief and return to work. In May 2010, it was announced that Kelly was pregnant with her and John's third child. This child, a son named Benjamin, was born on November 23, 2010. After Jett's death, his family would occasionally make publicized reflections of their son. In a 2012 interview on the television program The Doctors, Kelly Preston also confirmed that her son had autism, blaming the condition on her use of antibiotics during breastfeeding, Kawasaki syndrome, environmental chemicals, and brisk rough delivery of Jett as causes for his autism. Reflecting on Jett in a February 2014 interview with Barry Norman, John Travolta stated that the day after Jett died, he didn't want to wake up. Travolta, in the hour-and-a-half-long interview, stated that Jett's death was the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. In 2019, a few days before what would have been the 27th birthday for Jett, Kelly posted a black and white photograph of Jett and his parents onto Instagram. This social media post was also made in celebration of Autism Awareness Month, which is in April. The caption of the photo made by Preston read in part, "To my sweet love, Jett. You are in our hearts forever." On April 13, 2022, Jett's 30th birthday, John Travolta paid tribute to Jett in a social media post that stated, "My dearest Jetty, I miss you more than words can say," John wrote alongside a photograph of him and Jett. "I think about you every day. Happy birthday. Love, your dad." Accompanying the photo was a photograph of John and Jett. Kelly Preston had passed away from breast cancer 2 years prior at the age of 57. Jett's younger sister Ella commented on her father's post, stating, "Happy birthday, Jetty. We love you so much." John would post a tribute post on Instagram 2 years later on what would have been Jett's 32nd birthday, stating, "Happy birthday, my Jetty, not a day goes by where you're not with me." With the caption was a photo of Jett, Kelly, and John.